Why do rockstars like Kurt Cobain of NIRVANA, Cornell of SOUNDGARDEN and AUDIOSLAVE, Sister Bennington of LINKIN, Brian VELASCO, the drummer of RAZORBACK, and recently Jamir Garcia, the vocalist of SLAPSHOCK, commit suicide? It is not a secret anymore and is now being widely known that depression is the cause of suicide. So these are the 8 symptoms of depression. Number 1. Hopeless outlook. Major depression is a mood disorder that affects the way you feel about life in general. Having a hopeless or helpless outlook on your life is the most common symptom of depression. Other feelings may be worthlessness, self-hate, or inappropriate guilt. Common recurring thoughts of depression may be vocalized as, "It's all my fault," or "What's the point?" Number 2. Lost interest. Depression can take the pleasure or enjoyment out of the things you love. A loss of interest or withdrawal from activities that you once looked forward to, like sports, hobbies, or going out with friends, is yet another telltale sign of major depression, or known as social withdrawal. Another area where you may lose interest is sex. Symptoms of major depression include a decreased sex drive and even impotence. Number 3. Increased fatigue and sleep problems. Part of the reason you might stop doing things you enjoy is because you feel very tired. Depression often comes with a lack of energy and an overwhelming feeling of fatigue, which can be among the most debilitating symptoms of depression. This could lead to excessive sleeping. Depression is also linked with insomnia, as one might lead to the other and vice versa. They can also make each other worse. The lack of quality, restful sleep can also lead to anxiety. Number 4. Anxiety. While depression hasn't been shown to cause anxiety, the two conditions often occur together. Symptoms of anxiety can include nervousness, restlessness, or feeling tense, feelings of danger, panic or dread, rapid heart rate, rapid breathing, increased or heavy sweating, trembling or muscle twitching, trouble focusing or thinking clearly about anything other than the thing you're worried about. Number 5. Irritability in men. Depression can affect the sexes differently. Research shows that men with depression may have symptoms such as irritability, escapist or risky behavior, substance abuse, or misplaced anger. Men are also less likely than women to recognize depression or seek treatment for it. Number 6. Changes in appetite and weight. Weight and appetite can fluctuate for people with depression. This experience may be different for each person. Some people will have an increased appetite and gain weight, while others won't be hungry and will lose weight. One indication of whether dietary changes are related to depression is if they're intentional or not. If they're not, it may mean that they're caused by depression. Number 7. Uncontrollable emotions. 1 minute it's an outburst of anger, then the next you're crying uncontrollably. Nothing outside of you prompted the change, but your emotions are up and down at a moment's notice. Depression can cause mood swings. Number 8. Looking at death or suicide thoughts. Depression is sometimes connected with suicide. In 2013, more than 42,000 people died from suicide in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention trusted source. People who die by suicide usually show symptoms first. Often, people will talk about it or make a first attempt before succeeding in ending their life. Some of the warning signs for suicide. They tell you they want to die or kill themselves. Access things they could use to hurt themselves. Read or write about suicide online or post photos or videos about suicide. Become obsessed with death. Scientific explanation of depression. When the neurotransmitter of the brain is not supplying enough serotonin, a chemical in the brain, which leads to chemical imbalance in the brain, that is the time depression comes in. But majority of people suffering from depression don't show the symptoms, and they are good at hiding it. And in some cases, you just learn that they suffer from depression when they already committed suicide. If you got at least 3 out of the 8 symptoms mentioned, you are considered clinically depressed person and you need medical help. A psychiatrist to diagnose you and give you the right medications to correct the chemical imbalance in the brain. Some people who are suicidal might not show these signs, and some warning signs may not be obvious. People who feel suicidal might try to hide what they are going through or pretend that they are okay. If you think that someone might be at risk, pay attention to changes in their behavior. Trust your instincts and ask them directly if they are thinking about suicide. 4 common causes of depression. Number 1, relationships, breakups or divorce. Number 2, loss of loved ones, best friend or family member. Someone died close to you. Number 3, personal problems like business bankruptcy, loss of income, and unemployment. Number 4, substance abuse, alcohol or drugs. Being alcoholic or being a drug addict, that will lead to depression as well. Suffering from depression is involuntary, just like cancer or diabetes, but it is a treatable illness that can be managed. I would just like to add on about my observation on people who are into rock and roll, like the ones I have mentioned at the start of this video. These guys who are into rock and roll sound, they got used to that kind of noise, and once they got out of that environment and go back to their homes, the silence is being magnified to the extent that they feel empty and lonely because their systems are used to that kind of noise. If they are gone from that rock and roll lifestyle and noise for a while, their bodies are craving for it to have some dose of that kind of noise, an outlet for their soul. That absence from the rock and roll scene may trigger depression. I believe that being away from the rock and roll scene will aggravate sadness that will lead to depression. So let us be a mental health advocate and help bring mental health awareness in the social media. Let us join the fight against the darkness of depression, and if not totally eradicate depression, at least minimize suicide cases worldwide. And lastly, we need to spread more love to our loved ones because we all need a dosage of love.